Hi there, welcome back to part 2 of my Bushwood original knife build video. Now, if you're watching this one and you don't know what I'm talking about, it means you've missed out the first one. So if you're interested in the kind of process that I go through to get from stock removal to this, then watch the first video and then you'll know where we're at for this video, if that makes sense. So this video I'm going to do heat treating. Now there's lots of various schools of thought, as they say, for what's the best way to heat treat stainless, whether to wrap it in stainless foil or like a coating that you put on to stop scale build up. I personally like foil, the stainless steel foil. I made the little envelopes, which I'll show in this video. I've got good results with that. I'm actually doing a this is an 012 tool steel, but it's got coating on it. AP, what is it? ATP 64, which is like some kind of clay looking coating. Now I did try that on the stainless, and I found that because the 012 steel, which is like around 800 degrees heat treat temp, whereas stainless steel you're looking at 1065. So it's a big increase in heat, and I don't think it didn't seem to work. It seemed to go very black, and there was a lot of scale build up on there. So I'm assuming that it didn't work. It might have been my mistake. I don't know. I might have done something wrong, but I get good results on 01 and all the carbon steels, but on the stainless I stick to the foil. I think there is a different type of coating you can get out there, like a green, a little bit hard to get here in Perth, Australia, so foil is easier to get, so I just stick to using the foil, which I've had good results on. And I get it in I just get it in small rolls like this. It's an American product, and it's made for arts and crafts. There you go, arts and crafts. Now it is, what is it? 0.05 of a millimeter thick. So it's very thin, easy to fold, easy to get it to seal nicely, and I've had good results with this. So this is what I buy, because I find that the bigger rolls and like that are so expensive to buy. This probably works out cheaper in the long run, buying a big roll, but I can't justify spending like $300 or $400 on a roll of stainless foil, where I just get these small ones and I use these, and we shall heat treat this knife. As you can see, we've got the kiln fired up, and I've got it set at 801 degrees C there. Now I've got two 01 tool steel blades to do first, so I'll heat treat those first and get them quenched up and into the tempering oven, and then I shall raise the temp up on there and get it up to the 1065 for the AEBL stainless steel blades. I think I've got probably about 4 or 5 stainless to do, so I'm going to be fairly busy getting those done. But I'll just run through just the one that I'm actually doing, rather than go through all the different blades that I'm doing, because otherwise that would make the video even longer than the first part one, which kind of went longer than I thought. Yeah, part one was over 30 minutes, I think, wasn't it? 32 minutes, something like that. Now I really did my best trying to shorten it down, but it's so hard. I probably, couldn't really turn it into 2 videos, because it probably wouldn't make sense, because the actual initial part of cutting it out and drilling the holes, really, that's all one part. So, but I did try and edit it down as much as I could, but we still ended up with half an hour. But all the people who watched it, thank you very much for being patient and not, well, you might nod it off halfway through, I don't know, but yeah, it's just hard doing videos and trying to make them interesting, and when the job you're doing is I don't know, it is interesting, but it's not like mega, nothing flash and stands out. So but if you're into making knives or thinking about making some, at least you've got an idea of what goes into making it and what I get up to in the workshop. But that's heating up nicely, and we're now at the temp there, so let me just set my timer for the O1 tools and then we'll get on to the AEBLs. My little mate just arrived here. He's just had a little wash in his bird bath. Willy Wagtail. Oh no, we've got another one there now. Must be his wife, unless the other one was the wife and that's the man. I don't know how you tell the difference between birds, but cool little birds though. They're always dropping in to say hello. So quick wildlife segment there. So I've got, this is the one we're doing, the Bushwood original. So we got that one. I've got another one, another Bushwood original there, which hasn't been cleaned up yet. And we got this Nakiri style Japanese sort of chef's knife. That is 12C27 stainless, 2mm thick. And we got a dingo. They're all in AEBL 3.2mm. Another dingo. And finally, just move that. Finally, we have got the Tracker XL, which is a big old knife. It's a bit of a beast. So these are real popular for fishing, you know, on the boats and stuff like that. Especially with if you have a like a man-made handle G10 or a micarta handle or whatever on there, like fully waterproof knife in the stainless. So I think this is Nitro V, I think. It's got G on there to remind me to do the jimping on the spine. But yeah, Nitro V, and all the rest are AEBL, and that was a 12C27. So we'll get these wrapped up. I'll only show that one being wrapped up. I won't go through the whole lot, otherwise you'll definitely fall asleep. Now, one thing that I definitely do use is gloves for this. First reason being, this is like mega sharp stuff. It literally slices in your fingers so easy if you're not careful. And being that I've had the chest open and artificial heart valve in there, I'm on blood thinners for the rest of my life now, so I have to be really careful. Like this morning I just caught my finger on the grinder and like just scratched the knuckle there, but it just bleeds and bleeds. It's such a pain in the butt, but you know, it's keeping me alive, so I can't really complain. But so I always wear gloves, especially you know, don't ever just think, oh, I'll just do it quick. It's only if you're doing one blade oil. Don't just think, oh, I'll just wrap it up quick, it'll be fine, because guarantee you're going to cut yourself. And it's like a paper cut, but 10 times worse, if you know what I'm saying. If you had paper cuts, you'll know exactly what I mean, but a stainless steel cut is 10 times worse. So we'll head back to the bench, we'll get these wrapped up. Perhaps zoom out a little bit, might be better, that's better. Now, first thing I normally do is just lay that on there, and I need to allow enough for the folds, and then obviously that side. So I just kind of eyeball it really, even if I just get a pen and just sort of, you know, mark it sort of from there to that side, around about there, allow a little bit more, which is enough to cut it and fold it, if that makes sense. I'm not the best at explaining things sometimes, but I know what I mean, but it doesn't come across too well, you know. But I normally I don't use these. I don't know why I got those out of the drawer. Righto. Now I just need to allow enough material to fold it over, and then double fold all the edges. So yeah, I'll probably end up wasting a little bit, but nothing worse than like not cutting enough. Otherwise it's wasted anyway, because it doesn't fit the knife, fit the size of the blade. So you see it cuts pretty easy with just a pair of scissors. And now I'm just going to fold that in half. see it folds really easy. And some of the stainlesses I use, they've been a bit stiff, and you struggle to fold them. But this one is quite, it's almost like it's been annealed or something, because it does fold really nice. So you can see now we've got enough to fold these twice, and then do the edges. So what I normally do, I normally get a straight edge and fold this side first. So there's my scriber. Just hook that up, and make sure you get both pieces up. Oh, sorry, I'm rocking the camera. Sorry about that. Just like that. Now, just get my little hammer. Make sure that's nicely flattened there. The theory is this keeps the air from getting to the stainless once it's in the kiln. There obviously will be a little bit of air in there which will burn off, but then in theory, if it can't get back in, then it limits the oxidization on the stainless. And it can, with stainless, it can be quite heavy, and you have to grind a lot of it off, and then you end up with a blade that ends up being a little bit thinner than what you were planning on. So wrapping it in the foil or a coating, that's the key. Alright, and the other thing is trying to keep it nice and neat. Don't get loads of creases in it. You want it nice and neat, so as when it comes out, goes into the aluminium plates to be quenched, then there's no wrinkles and creases, and which could possibly cause like warpage. Alright, now let's just do this. Do one end. That's it. Another fold. Alright, so there we've got our little envelope ready for the blade to go in. Now I normally keep the blade upright, so my theory is if that's in the kiln and it's on the little rack in there like that, it could pick up less heat or more heat in one point on the back of on the spine of the blade, whereas you want the most important part of the blade, which is obviously the cutting edge. You want a nice even heat there. So I'm thinking that if the blade's in there like that, it's not touching anything, it'll get a nice even temperature across that cutting edge, which should make for a reliable knife. But that's my theory anyway. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. The other thing I do is a little bit of talcum powder. Just stops the like the blades sticking to the foil. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I found with the talcum powder there, it just gives it a little bit of a barrier there, so as it doesn't stick to the foil. So just got to be careful you don't poke a hole in there, because if you do, then you've got to start again. That little foil packet is done, no good, unless for a shorter blade, if you can fold it there, I don't know. Hammer that. Hammer that there. Now we've got our foil packet all ready. Right, we're ready to slip it into the kiln. I'll see what temperature we're at. We are at 1053, so another 10 degrees and pretty much, and we're at heat treating or austenitizing temperature. We can only do one at a time because you've got to be quite specific with carbon steels. You can put 2 or 3 in there, and you can quench one after another pretty quick. But with the stainless steel, because it's a bit of a slower process, it has to go into the aluminium plates, which I put into this carpenter's vise here. I've actually got the 01 blade in there just to make sure it's nice and straight. The 01 blades were oil quenched. With stainless steel you plate quench in these. Now I've got some ice water here, aluminium plates, nice and cool, so they quench faster, if that makes sense. So that was a bit confusing. So I shall just run through that again, I think. So blade goes into the kiln. Now the kiln is set at 1066. Now you put the blade in at that temperature. What will happen is, obviously you open the door, you lose heat from the kiln, so the temperature will drop. But when you put this blade in there, because it's fairly cool compared to the inside of the kiln, the temperature will drop drastically. It'll go right down to probably 1000 degrees, something like that. So then you have to wait until it goes back up to 1065, 1066. Now as soon as it hits that point, then I'll start the timer. I normally do AEBL, this thickness I normally do for about 12 to 15 minutes. That's what I've found gives it the best hardness. So it goes back in, up to temperature, set the timer for 12 minutes, and then carry on wrapping the other blades up while that's happening. So we take it out of the kiln once it's 12 minutes, into the plates to quench. And then from the plates I put them straight into the freezer inside. Now I don't do a cryo treatment because I've tried dry ice slurry, and with the hardness tester I can check, and it was hardly any different. It was like 1 or 2 points, Rockwell points higher, and for the extra outlay time having to go and get the dry ice and make the slurry, and it only lasts for a little while and then you throw away. It doesn't seem economical to me. So anyway, the freezer does a good enough job. If you're not 100% convinced, if you go on to the Knife Steel Nerds, Larin Thomas, he's done a really good kind of look into stainless steels and stuff like that, and he did tests with cryo, dry ice and home freezer, and just air cooling, and it gives you a list of all the Rockwell hardness results there, and it'd be quite surprising if you're into all that kind of stuff, and you might be amazed. I think there's a lot of things out there on the internet that blind people, because that one person's doing something and then they feel if they're not doing that then it's wrong. But sometimes you need to look into things, and especially with the Rockwell tester I can test exactly how it's coming out, so I know, where we're at, and it seems to work for me. So we're pretty much ready for this to go in now. Got my tongs, made these out of when I was doing a bit of forging years ago. These are one of the first things I knocked up. Yeah, so that's why these look like this. They're a little bit ropey, but you get attached to something. First ones I ever made, so I kind of keep using them. Sentimental. Anyway, so I'll put the tip there. I should put that in first. Actually, what I can do is show you the actual. Don't get seasick. I can actually show you the temp of that. 1000. If I'm this side, will you see that all right? Yeah, it should be all right. So this 1065 degrees C inside there. There we go. Easy as that. As you can see, that temp has dropped down a lot. So it was at 1066, it's down to 1022. Looks like it's stabilised. Yeah, it's coming back up already. Look. It's coming back up, 1024. So while that's doing that, I shall get on and start wrapping up the I'll wrap up the other blades that I showed you earlier, and we shall come back to a exciting bit of plate quenching. we shall come back to some plate quenching. There you go, got it that time. So see you in a bit. It's had its time in the kiln. It had 13 minutes, lucky 13, and so now I'll pull it out and we shall get it straight into the quench plates in the vise here. You can see those. They've been in the ice water, so they're nice and cold. I've got my air line as well to blow down there, just to get that extra sort of bit of airflow going around it. So, all right. So we have got, that's at temperature. It's had 13 minutes in the kiln there, and I'll bring that out and put it straight into these aluminium plates in there, clamp them up. Now, you don't want to clamp them up mega tight, because if you think about it, the steel, when it's in the kiln, the metal expands when it gets hot. So the steel is expanded, and what you don't want to do is clamp it really tight in that, so as it can't contract. So just do it up enough, just so as the steel can contract in that aluminium, and then obviously you're not going to get any potential problems arising from stress or whatever, or yeah, you know what I'm saying. So we shall go through the process now. Probably that angle there is probably going to be about right. You don't have to be mega quick getting in and out. Like with oil quenching, you have to get it out pretty quick, because it has to cool quick, but it naturally air cools anyway, this, so you don't have to rush and trip over and hit something and hurt yourself. It's more of a slow process. You can see the heat in that. Get that in there. I'm only going to do that up a little bit. I'm not going to wind it up. Now this might get a little bit noisy now. Alright, so while that one is cooling in the plates there, I shall get the next one into the kiln, and we just keep repeating that process until we've gone through them. I say it is very slow, because if I had bigger aluminium plates, like wider, and if I did have that, I would probably mount that vise horizontal, so then I can put two blades in there, and then wind the vise down onto it. Whereas at the moment it's vertical, and the plates aren't really big enough to get two in there, so I need to invest in some bigger plates, get two blades at a time, which will obviously speed the process up. But it's like you just carry on as you know, and it's just the way it is, isn't it? But it'll work out. It'll be fine. So the next one is in, and this one will be ready to come out of there. So I'll take my gloves off, and you'll see it won't be hot. So I can touch that now. It's not even hot. So the aluminium plates do a fantastic job on. Let me just put this over here. They do a fantastic job on drawing that heat out of the steel. And I'll open this up now, and you can see gloves. Don't forget my gloves. I've done that before as well, because I don't like to wear gloves when I'm using the kiln, because these are like rubber ones, and they sort of feel like they're melting sometimes. They get really hot and your hands burn, so I prefer to just do it barehanded, and you've got a lot more feel with things like that, I feel anyway. But yeah, I've done it before. I've cut it open and just I'll just peel it back and get it out. Cut straight through my finger. Which is always nice. Sometimes you get some really wild colouring. It's always a bit of a surprise when you open up one of these, because sometimes the blade is like mega rainbow sort of effects, and other times it's just plain grey, and it's like, oh, that's a shame. So what have we got? It's just a plain grey one, never mind. I was expecting it to be full of rainbow colours, and I was going to amaze you with the fantastic coloration, and unfortunately we've got plain grey. But when I say we've got plain grey, that is as it's come out of the foil, and there's no decarb on there. There we go. So that is as it's come out of the foil packets. Now hardness wise, stainless is a bit of an oddball thing, because if I did a Rockwell test on this now, it'd probably only be 50 something, and you sort of start panicking and think, ooh, it's not hard enough. But I'll put this in the freezer, and I'll show you the difference. Actually, I might as well, while I'm here, I'll stick this in the I'll put it in the Rockwell tester now. It should really give it a clean up first, although there's no decarb on there, but okie dokie. Let's just put that in the Rockwell tester. Doing it one-handed here, so you have to bear with me a little bit. Yeah, see, that's at 57, so it's fairly low, but we'll get that into the freezer and then we'll do another test on it. Alright, let's put this in there. Sorry if my head's in the way. Get my head out of the way now, so we need to wind that round. There's a little dot there. I have actually done another video on a hardness testing, I think. Oh no, it was on Instagram. I did a few things on there, but basically you get the small dial there. Let's zoom in, hang on, where are we? So the small dial, get the little arrow in the middle of the red dot there, and then you adjust this outer one so as the needle is on the C there. Are we on there? There we go, perfect. So let's zoom back out, and then we press that, and it takes 13 seconds. So that's loading it up now, putting a load of weight onto the actual blade itself, putting a tiny little indentation into the steel, and then this will measure how far the steel has compressed, and then give us a final result on where we're at. So let's zoom back in on that. So where are we? So there we go. We are at, I'd say that's probably 59.9. We give that a little, and it'll come to 60. There you go, look at that. Dead on 60. So that's a perfect heat treat and temper for AEBL stainless steel. Okay, so there we go. One hardened and tempered Bushwood original in AEBL. Prior to the going in the freezer, I did the test on it, and that was at 57. And once it had the 4 hours in the freezer at -30, I took it out, let it come back up to room temperature, and did another test on it, and we were at 63. So we've had a 6-point increase from 57 obviously to 63, which is absolutely perfect. Now, I've done a lot of testing. A lot of people might think that the freezer isn't cold enough, but with the hardness tester there, I've done a lot of testing on pieces of AEBL, and slightly lower austenitizing temperature suits the home freezer to get it to the hardness that's like a good hardness to so then you can temper it back down, if that makes sense. Probably a little bit confusing, but so yeah, so we've gone up to 63 in the freezer, and I have tempered it for 2 hours at 170. Took it out, let it cool down, took it out, tempered it, tested it on the hardness tester, and we were around about 61.5 HRC. So put it back into the tempering oven for another 2 hours at 170, and then it's finally come out, and we're around about 60, 59.5, 60 overall hardness. So which is perfect for AEBL blade. So there we go, really happy with that. 60 HRC, absolutely spot on for AEBL. Now, next step is to clean the flats up. I'll clean them up on the belt sander to 180 grip. Then I shall hand sand the flats from 120 all the way up to either 600, or sometimes I go a little bit more to 1000. Just depending on what kind of finish I'm going for, whether I want a slightly higher sheen with the 1000 or a more of a satin look with the 600 grit. So it all depends on how I'm feeling at the time and what kind of look I'm going for. But so we'll do that, and then we've got to stick some liners onto the handle scales, and then it's just a process of once they've cured over the next few days or whatever, then it's fit the handle scales, drill the loveless bolts, and glue them up. And that will be probably the next video, and I'll probably do a last one on hand sanding, not handle sanding. Just depends on time wise. I want to try and keep, I know the first video was quite long at half an hour, but it was really hard to, like I said at the beginning of this one, it's really hard to try and cut it down to get it to a more condensed version without losing too much information, if you know what I'm saying, because that first part was obviously, well, it was a lot going on in that. So but the next video I shall try and keep this one a little bit shorter, and then obviously the one after that try and keep that shorter as well, because otherwise it seems to drag out a little bit. Unless you're really heavily into knives, it's going to be a bit of a boring video. But anyway, back to this one. So we shall continue on this with the next process, as I just said, and that'll be in the next video. So anyway, like I always say, like and subscribe, and stay safe, and I shall see you on the next video. Cheers then, see ya.